I'm Harrison Graham, and you are watching the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. Coming up on today's show, a full list and breakdown of all 20 of the Chiefs 2023 free agents. Technically, it would have been 21, but Chad Henne retired. Shout out Chad Henne. Type 4 in the comments to wish him a happy retirement. All right, we're going to break down these free agents. We'll spend more time on the bigger ones than others. Let's go ahead and start here with Orlando Brown. That's obviously the big one here, as he's an unrestricted free agent and, of course, a tag candidate as well. Through 2 seasons, Orlando Brown has virtually been the same player. He's been good, not great, but very good. And it's kind of funny how both seasons have played out. I would say both seasons have been similar. He started slow. First half of 2021 and 2022 finished strong, and this year in particular, he was excellent in the Super Bowl, and that's when you need guys to be at their best. But when you look at the PFF grades, the sacks, allowed penalties, etc., again, he's been a really good player. I wouldn't say he's been reset the market good, but he has been an overall positive than a negative. He's certainly a strong franchise tag candidate once again, because the Chiefs can tag him, and his cap hit would be less than $20 million this year. So if he wants to reset the market at over $23 million, I don't think that'll happen, but could he take a 5-year, $110 million type of deal? Maybe. We'll see how the next few weeks go. I think he'll get tagged initially, and I'm sure discussions of a contract extension will then take place. Next up is JuJu Smith-Schuster, who was probably the biggest acquisition in free agency last year. Him, and then, they threw money at Justin Reed, but he's still under contract. JuJu, though, was fantastic in his 1 year here. He really was this past season, as I thought he played very, very well for Kansas City. He would have easily eclipsed 1,000 yards had he not dealt with an injury that caused him to miss a couple of games, but still had 933 yards and 78 catches. Only 3 touchdowns. You would have liked a little bit more production there, but I like what JuJu brought to the table. I would bring him back for the right price, but, he came here trying to reset his value after a disappointing season or two, and then an injury-riddled season in 2021 with Pittsburgh. I think his value is probably pretty high, and in a thin free agent class at receiver, he could fetch $20 million potentially on the open market, so he could be a guy that gets let go. What do you guys think? Who is the bigger priority for Kansas City? If you think it's Orlando Brown, type OB. If you think it's JuJu Smith-Schuster, just throw a JuJu down in the comments below. I think it's Orlando Brown. You got to protect Mahomes at left tackle. You can find another receiver to replace JuJu, so I'm going to type my OB. Another receiver, that is Mecole Hardman, who is set to hit the open market. He, of course, had a frustrating year in which he got hurt in Week 9. Played a little bit in the AFC Championship game, but got hurt again, missed the Super Bowl. So he essentially did not play the final 2.5 months of the year. He's a guy that I would potentially like to bring back, but I think he's likely gone. I think the Kadarius Toney trade really signaled that I don't think that Mecole Hardman will return. I think he is going to hit the open market, and I think a team will throw $10 million at him because he's got elite speed, and the Chiefs just aren't going to pay that. I mean, Sky Moore is the guy they drafted for a reason. He can play some of that role. Kadarius Toney is clearly going to do some of the gadgety stuff that Mecole did. I don't think Hardman returns next year. Next up is Andrew Wylie, who has played a variety of roles for this team, but played right tackle exclusively this year, and played it very well. Was awesome in the Super Bowl, was rock solid all year. He's never going to be a star, but he's earned a pay raise. Played for $2.5 million this year. You're not getting him at that price tag next year. You're probably going to have to triple that. I think he could get $7.5, $8 million on the open market. He played like a starting caliber right tackle all season. He's earned his money. I would not blame him at all if he went and chased that money elsewhere. Hey, if he wants to come back for $4 or $5 million and the Chiefs want to pay it, I'm not going to say no. I would absolutely bring him back, but I just think it's probably likely that he will go and chase top dollar. How about Jerick McKinnon, who has just found a role here, man. He really has. I'm a big fan of McKinnon's game. I mean, what he did this year I thought was so impressive. Obviously, he's more of a factor in the passing game, both as a pass protector and as a receiving back. Can run the ball between the tackles some as well, don't get me wrong, but he's made his money as a receiving back and as a guy who can block. 10 total touchdowns this year, made some plays in the playoffs. I would bring back McKinnon and have that 1-2 punch with Isaiah Pacheco. Pacheco's obviously going to be your lead back moving forward. We'll see what happens with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I think he's what was that? That was like a half-sneeze yawn. Clip that off, somebody, and tweet at me at HGramNFL. But I think I like the Pacheco-McKinnon 1-2 punch. I really do. I think Edwards-Helaire is done here. We'll get to Ronald Jones in a minute, who's a free agent. He's not a part of this thing. So, yeah, bring back Jerick McKinnon. Let's ride. I like that 1-2 punch out of the backfield. If you want more Chiefs free agency and draft rumors, that's going to ramp up here on this channel. Hit the subscribe button as free agency less than a month away, and the draft not long after that. So we're going to have some fun here on the Chiefs Report. It's youtube.com/ChiefsTV. Subscribe today and don't miss any of our coverage. Next grouping here, Juan Thornhill, the free agent safety who I like quite a bit, took on a leadership role. I got to talk to him for a few minutes leading up to the Super Bowl down in Phoenix, and you could tell he took that leadership role on with pride, but he could look to max out financially, and that's unlikely to happen here, so there's a real chance he's gone. Khalen Saunders, the defensive tackle, had a breakout campaign here in 2022. 48 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks. I mean, he really basically became a starter for this team next to Chris Jones, and I thought he played really, really well. Had a couple nice pressures in the Super Bowl also. You've also got Derrick Nnadi, who's been here for a while as a veteran defensive tackle. I got to be honest, I didn't think I'd be saying this. I would rather have Saunders back than Nnadi. He's younger. He's more explosive in terms of being able to get after the quarterback. Now, Nnadi knows his role. He stops the run well. But if you had to pick one, I think I would bring Khalen Saunders back. Now, again, he might get some money somewhere. I mean, he's a young bowling ball defensive tackle. He might get $5-6 million. I don't know. Derrick Nnadi probably would be cheaper. So maybe the Chiefs opt to do that. But Khalen Saunders, he was solid this year. I mean, they finally saw the explosive athlete that we saw when he was coming out of, wherever it was. I can't remember what small school, Western Illinois, I believe, when he was doing backflips on the turf and stuff. But he finally was able to prove how good he could be this year. Who would you rather have at defensive tackle if you had to pick one? Type KS for Khalen Saunders, DN for Derrick Nnadi. I'd bring back Saunders if he's available. Here's to see what you guys think. Elsewhere on the defensive line, it is Carlos Dunlap, who served as honestly an ideal rotation guy, right? 4 sacks in 2022. He was a part of that defensive line that was second in the NFL behind only the Eagles in sack production. If he wants to come back for cheap and be a rotation pass rusher, I'm certainly down. I don't think he's someone that's going to be able to make a lot of money in free agency. He's certainly older, not the player he used to be, but 3 to 5 sacks probably is what you could expect out of him next year. 1 year, $3 million. I'd bring him back. I think he could produce for this team. Blake Bell, the tight end, who missed most of the year with that hip injury, came back late but was inactive for the AFC title game and the Super Bowl. I'd be surprised if he was back just because you've got Travis Kelce, you've got Noah Gray, and you've got Jody Fortson, who are all ahead of him in the pecking order. So if he comes back, he's your 4th tight end. Producer Sam Brown, Oklahoma alum's not a fan of it, but he could probably have a bigger role for another team. And we got some Chiefs Super Bowl champs gear available for you guys, and the Belldozers won 2 of them now. So if you want to wear the same shirt he's rocking, chatsports.com/ChiefsSB. We got hats available as well. These are the same hats Mahomes and Kelce were rocking on the field in Phoenix just after they won. Hoodies, all kinds of stuff. Chatsports.com/ChiefsSB. Check that link in the comments in the description of this video. Go celebrate being a Super Bowl champion. It never gets old. All right, next grouping here. Nick Allegretti, who's really played a nice role for this team. Got to play a decent amount 2 years ago when they had some injuries up front. He's a good backup lineman who can play guard and center. I would bring him back if it's a vet minimum deal to be a backup, but we shall see. How about Justin Watson, who surprised all of us when he had a big spring? Patrick Mahomes, that famous report of him calling Brett Veach during, I think, OTAs and was like, I don't know who this guy is, but he's pretty damn good. And he made some big plays for this team. I think he's a great number 4, number 5 type of receiver. If he wants to come back for cheap, I'm down. Maybe he looks to play for a different team and get a little bit more than the vet minimum. But I think he surprised all of us, and he certainly surprised me with how he played this year. I like Deon Bush. He signed a 1-year deal to be a special teams ace, serve that role well. Can be a third, fourth safety also and hold his own in coverage. We'll see what his future looks like. Fullback Michael Burton, this one's pretty simple. If he wants to come back, he will. If he doesn't, he won't. We know the Chiefs will carry a fullback in this offense. Just remains to be seen if it'll be Michael Burton or someone else. Pretty confident in saying Ronald Jones will not be back. He asked to be cut after the trade deadline. He was not. He was active in the Super Bowl over Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but he didn't play. Producer Sam Brown can attest. When we were talking to players down in Phoenix, he was more often than not kind of just sitting on his phone in the corner. I just don't think he meshed well with this team for whatever reason. I think I'm pretty confident in saying he will be playing for a different team next year. Now, name an external free agent the Chiefs should sign. If you don't know what external means, if you haven't reached that English class in your high school, that is someone who wasn't on the Chiefs last year, like Odell Beckham. I almost said Orlando Brown. That would be internal. Like Odell Beckham is who I meant to say. Name someone out there you would like to see the Chiefs sign in free agency. All right, a different grouping of free agents here. These are either restricted free agents or exclusive rights free agents. Tommy Townsend first up here. He will be retained. He's one of the best punters in the NFL. I know that whole story from Dustin Colquitt, former Chiefs punter. Townsend's a great punter, but he doesn't hold the ball well as the holder. Well, when you average well over 50 yards a punt, you're going to be back. So they're going to bring him back. They will pay him. Tershawn Wharton's an interesting one. He was really solid last year, gets hurt this year. He was kind of a hidden gem as an undrafted free agent a couple years ago. Do you bring him back? I think it probably depends on what he could get on the open market, and also what do they do with Khalen Saunders and Derrick Nnadi? I think all of that works together. Jody Fortson, all three of these next ones should all 99.9% be back. Exclusive rights free agents. That basically means they have to sign with the Chiefs or they can't play, and they're all going to come back. Fortson will be back. The Chiefs like him. He likes the Chiefs. Shane Buechele will definitely be back. He's got a chance to be the backup quarterback next year. And then Tega Wanogho, a cheap backup tackle option. He was active for most games this year. All three of those guys will be back because they're cost-friendly, and they really don't have a choice. They have to play it for the Chiefs. And I think the other two will be back. Tommy Townsend for sure. The one wild card is Wharton, but if I had to guess, him coming off that ACL tear, I think all five of those players should return, and they'll be very, very cheap and won't really cost against the salary cap. So there you have it. That is the full list of Chiefs 2023 free agents. Brett Veach has some big decisions coming up, starting with Orlando Brown and JuJu, and then we will go from there, and we'll cover it all. As moves start to happen, as news starts to drop, we will have you covered. So hit that subscribe button here on the Chiefs Report.